Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is quarantine episode number 2. And we had some good feedback on the last episode. You liked the overall sound quality. I know lots of people listen to podcasts and you don't want them to end because of this whole world COVID-19 quarantining thing. And we want to obviously continue bringing them to you. And we don't want that drop in audio quality. I've seen a lot of people sort of making comments about other podcasts that they listen to. They're doing them remotely and the audio quality has dropped significantly. We are doing our best to keep the quality as good as possible, both in audio and in video form. So, yeah.
I would say more than that, Levi. I think that we have been taking improving steps to make the quality even better so that when we do come back together, it might even be better again on top of that. But
oh yeah, we're always looking to improve. We're always the goal is to make sure we're delivering the best thing for people, so we can entertain them through these trying times. Anyway,
correct.
Yeah, I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I am here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, mate?
You look like you were about to dab there.
I was. You want to see one of the things I've got that's for improving the studio setup and
yeah.
Not only here but when things go back to normal.
Go on.
I'll show you the webcam. I bought a real good studio boom arm.
Nice. And it's,
yes.
Yeah, I can see a delivery date on it and everything.
Yes, tomorrow by 9.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, couldn't live without my microphone thing. It makes my life a lot fucking easier. So,
well,
yeah.
I've seen just how well yours works compared to the cheap one that I got.
Yeah.
So.
I've still not dealt with the mess that we caused with that. Well, that I caused with that one where I shot a glass back against the wall of my studio and it shattered behind my computer. There's still
and you just left it.
Yeah, there's still glass all back there. I'll deal with it at some point. But yeah, I'm doing good. Mental health struggles that I think a lot of people are going through because of the quarantine thing. I feel like I'm going absolutely off my rocker nuts, insane. Which I think is to be expected. But it's definitely odd because I don't really go out that much anyway. So
I think what seems to be affecting a lot of people, myself included, is the idea that you can't go out, not necessarily that you have somewhere to be or that you have things to do. It's purely that you can't do this because of this. But I mean, we'll not get into the nitty-gritty of it, but the guidelines are actual dog shit.
Yeah.
Don't you dare go outside unless you really need to, but you can. And you can't visit your friends, but if you've had a falling out with your missus, you can stay with your mate for a few days.
Yeah. I know. It's I do definitely see both sides of it. It's an unbelievably, like I wouldn't want to be in government in having to go through and deal with something like this, because it's like, how ultimately what government needs to do is say to the people, we are going to treat you like prisoners for the next 6 months to a year of your lives, and you're going to be fucking miserable, but fucking deal with it.
I mean, the current government, as in the one that's been in power for 10 years, has kind of done that to the sick, the poor, the disabled, the vulnerable in general anyway.
Mike's going off again.
I'm just telling the truth. Like, at the end, you're saying like you would hate to be in the government. Like, well, the government have made this scenario by underfunding the NHS and all the social services and just being general greedy cunts for 10 years.
Even if all the social even if we had the what we would deem to be like an ideal NHS and all of that stuff, still the correct thing to do would be for the government to remove almost every single aspect of freedom that we have in order to completely lock down this situation and make sure that it doesn't escalate. But you just can't do it. It just can't be done.
No, you're right. All I'm talking about is the ramifications that it's having on the NHS and the clear disdain that the government have for NHS workers. You know what I mean? We won't give you the proper PPE, we won't give you any more money. We're not taking a pay cut. We just get fucking bumped up to 82 grand a year and we'll get a 10 grand allowance each for making sure we can work at home.
Yeah.
But we'll keep sharing propaganda about people clapping in their garden and we'll ask a 99-year-old man who's a war veteran to walk up and down his garden so that we can keep the taxes you've paid and he can fund the NHS. And don't you dare use too much PPE, frontline work staff.
Yeah.
My name is Matt Hancock and I don't understand what PPE actually is. Fuck all these people. Genuinely, I can't wait for social revolt. I cannot wait to buy like a fucking, I don't know, some sort of remote podcasting system and you and I are in the streets mid-riot literally talking about this is what we've been preparing for, boys. Marcus and Toppy are building with an RPG or something.
Yeah, okay. This show has been brought to you by Ormsby. This show is brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. We want to thank Perry and the guys over at Ormsby for all of their support. It is very much appreciated. For those unfamiliar with Ormsby and what they do, they're wonderful guitars built by Perry out in Australia. And probably what they're most notable for in recent years is actually doing these runs of guitars that are actually built offshore and then brought into Australia for quality control and then sent on out. So if you head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and check out the pre-order section on their website, you can check out some of the upcoming runs, get involved for a very low price, and prepayment plans, payment over a series of months. Great way to get yourself a killer instrument and absolutely killer price. So as always, thank you so much for the support, guys. Check them out and let them know that we sent you. Anyway, on with the show. So as usual, big thanks to our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. I wanted to get that little ad in there before I went off on my little rant about about going postal on people, because last time we did the whole rant about me and the holiday lodges. The holiday lodge situation got sorted, not because I did anything about it, but because my wife approached them separately as though it was a complete separate case. She approached them the exact same way that I did and said, unfortunately, due to my work situation, I'm not able to get any more time off before the end of the year. So would it be possible for me to pay a small booking fee and to move it to Easter next year? No problem. Absolutely no problem.
So rather than offering you that, they just made it awkward?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will be, she said I'm not allowed to say anything to them until after the holiday, but after the holiday I'm going to be emailing them saying, I thought you couldn't fucking do that, you incompetent assholes.
I don't believe that for a second. You're going to get there, get your stuff in the log trolley and be like, where is the manager's office? Yeah.
Well, actually, what I've decided is
you're quite fucking right.
I'm gonna go Thor in the restaurant that they have there. Have you seen the Marvel Thor film, the first Thor film?
Years ago.
It's garbage. Don't bother. There's only one funny moment. There's one funny moment in it, which is when he's sat in a cafe and he has a drink and he likes the drink and he says, "This drink, I like it. Another," and then throws the glass on the floor and smashes it. That's funny, and I'm going to do that in the bar every single time I have a drink. When I'm finished, I'm just going to push it off the table onto the floor. Just like a real passive aggressive.
2 drinks.
Say again.
You're going to get maybe 2 drinks.
Yeah, but such is life. We'll manage.
Just make sure you take up lots of extra bevy with you.
Yeah, it's just occurred to me I'm getting really hot on my mic. But yeah, the situation that drove me insane this week is North Lanarkshire Council, right? The most useless council in the world. Actually, I don't think that's true, but I think all councils are useless.
They certainly top the list of they come near the top of the list, if not at the top, for incompetency personified.
Their current thing that they're pushing for is they're trying to encourage have you seen this? They're trying to encourage dog walkers who are out walking their dogs to bag their dog waste, as you're supposed to, and then take it home with you, because they don't want you using public bins, because then that means they need to empty the public bins. It's like, motherfucker, I've got 3 dogs and you empty my bins once every 3 fucking weeks because you lowered the amount of times you were emptying my bins. I am not taking 3 dogs worth of shit home and storing it in my garden for 3 fucking weeks. Just think about how much shit that would be.
I think your problem is, right, you've not synced your dogs up so that you can collect all 3 shits with one bag. You've been wasteful here, no one else.
That's not true, actually. When I walk my dogs, when the first one does his business, I pick it up and then I keep the bag open with the shit in my hand so I can get the next ones. I'm efficient in that. I'm efficient in that respect. There you go. There's too much sharing. But we've
not even got a topic done yet, and we've started talking about shit.
I know.
Love it.
Speaking of actual dog shit and actual feces, what's your favourite brutal death metal album cover that features poo? I know there's a lot to choose from.
You know what? There really is. My favourite poo-themed band isn't death metal. They're actually like Porno Grind or Gore Grind, and they're Gutalax.
Yeah,
they have songs such as Fart Away. I can't even tell you half the names, but they are just one of the best bands you'll ever see live.
Yeah.
Whether you like that music or not, it's just something else.
And that's what our lives are going to turn into now.
Well, if we're going to be talking about just genuine or generally poo, maybe the Scat Orgy album cover's pretty good.
You see, I threw that comment in just to laugh at the idea of how many albums there are featuring poo, and now Mike's gone off on a full on. Let's talk about that.
I'll send you the album. In fact, I tell you what, can you get me up on screen and I'll screen share it?
No.
Not that you want to.
No. Send it to me and I'll add it into the podcast
okay.
afterwards. Because of the way I'm recording it, it's way too difficult.
That's fine. That
We
makes
can't
sense.
even
Right.
do audio sharing. We've got a little workaround to share audio that we're going to do in a second. So yeah, North Lanarkshire Council, fuck you. I am not going to be collecting my dog shit and taking it home and storing it, because you know what? That's supremely unhygienic. 3 weeks worth of my dogs do maybe 2, potentially 3 shits a day. I'm not storing 9 bags of shit in my waste bin for 3 weeks. 9 a day that's an obscene amount. And like,
You've been an amateur here. You could get a compost heap.
yeah. Well, I saw one person saying, well, what you should really do is take the bag home and then open the bag up and then you can pour it all down the toilet. Like, fuck off. What is going wrong with the fucking world? I understand we are in a trying time, right? But they've closed the dumps, the recycling centres, because of social distance. Like, I go to that dump, not all the time, but often enough. I've never come in contact with a person there. And the people that work there are never in contact with each other. You've just closed down what I consider to be quite a key service to residents, because, you know, the reason we use the dump and the recycling centre is because we don't want to amass amounts of waste that we're just storing in a house, because it's unhygienic and it causes problems with rats and things like that. Like, services like that are fucking important. You lower the amount of times that you collect our fucking bins. You're telling us you want us to store our own dog shit at home. Like, come on, this isn't going to work. Because how is this protecting workers? It takes one man to empty public bins.
Let's do better than that, right? Talking about just going to the actual dump, and no disrespect to anybody that works in sanitation, but my experience of going to the dump is 3 men sit in a porta potty, or a porta cabin, while you do everything you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the only time you see them. If not, they're in one of those crushers, and that's it.
Yeah, so it just seems like a key service. I think, obviously, I do think that this entire COVID-19 thing needs to be taken very seriously, and we should take it very seriously, but never, ever at the cost of, I don't want to say our freedoms or even conveniences, but you can't just like shut everything down, because after this all happens, like, because the dumps have been closed, right, fly tipping has gone through the fucking roof. Just because the dumps are closed, it hasn't changed the amount of waste that people need to dispose of, so they're just driving out into the countryside and just dumping it on the side of the road. That was a problem 6 months ago. Now it's just been amplified. What's going to happen when this situation is over with? Well, I'm sure the council aren't going to fucking do anything about it, because they don't do anything. They didn't do anything about it 6 fucking months ago.
It was amplified 6 months ago, before all this kicked off as well, because the council decided that you would pay the same, if not more, council tax, and that special uplifts, rather than getting 3 a year that you've paid for, they were £40 a go.
Yeah.
Hi, we bye.
It's not just me you're saying hello to. You're saying hello to the entire internet.
He can't hear you.
Oh.
I've got headphones on. So Levi's saying, you have to say, hello, internet. You're not saying it? Hello, internet. You're going to exercise, right? Don't lift those dumbbells.
Bye.
Because you'll end up hurting yourself. I know you're strong, but...
Yeah, that's absolute rubbish. You just don't want him getting stronger than you, then he'll batter you.
He's already stronger than me. I just don't want him knowing
it. Okay, so let's take this on to more music-related subjects, because we are here to talk about music and guitars, obviously.
Nah, we're just here to be assholes.
Well, true, and let's be assholes about America. Not that I don't love America and our American friends and families and viewers and all of that stuff. But it does seem that, despite the fact that by a large amount, the coronavirus situation is at its absolute worst in America. Like, the cases in America are 3 times, are the next 3 highest amount of cases in other countries combined. Like, they are not dealing with this well, and they are starting to open up public places again. States are starting to open up public places again. This is not going to go well. This is a bad idea.
It's not. And I think, for what I'd seen, what was worse than that is the armed protesters who are against being locked down, wandering the streets, standing outside of public places with guns, talking about wanting to fight for their freedom.
Yeah.
This is going to end up like Waco or something, man. Like, there's genuinely... I don't know what that was, but it fell.
I don't know what that was, but it fell.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It won't be anything I want to worry about.
No.
yeah, I don't see that resolving well in any capacity, at any time, or in any matter.
Yeah.
What I did laugh about, though, is the doomsday preppers who are now all freaking out after 3 weeks. Like, this was your one thing. You've been training for this your whole life.
This is your
putting all
dream.
your money into, exactly, putting all your money into having this bomb shelter, safety shelter, all these canned foods, all these great plans. Like, you've probably put 2 fuel cells in the back of your fucking stupid semi-hemi truck so that you can drive it for 9 million miles if you really need to, and had all that prepped, and then 3 weeks in you're like, this is shite, what am I going to do?
Yeah, it's shite. But yeah, despite the fact that some states seem to be losing their mind on, don't get me wrong, I do get it. And we kind of mentioned it earlier. It's like the right thing to do is to step in and take away everyone's freedoms, but also at the same time, like, what is living if you don't have freedom?
It's really weird. I don't mind staying in the house. I understand the bigger picture,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change the fact that sometimes I'm like, I would just like a change of scenery for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And sometimes walking round the street or going down to the shops and back for essentials isn't enough.
Yeah. But the story is the California governor says no concerts until there's a vaccine in 12 to 18 months from now. That is...
That's fucked Party Cannon's tour. We've had to postpone just in the last few days what we had planned for going to the States this year, which is a big, big kick in the teeth, because we don't make money off the band. Like, we've discussed this openly before.
Yeah.
This is not a venture that makes any money for me or Martin or Chris or Craig or Stoney. It just, the money that the band makes in merch or in guarantees and whatever money we make for gigs goes right back into the band's bank account to pay for flights for gigs so that we can play places further abroad, book things in advance and get the best deals, and generally just to help pay for merch and to have money just there. So it's all about liquidity. And the problem we've got at the moment is we've got money there, but everything that we'd made plans for, the money was going towards, or that was going to make us money, has now fell to bits. We should actually been in Europe today.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, and it's shit. It really is shit. But we can also go, that's the right thing to do. Like, it's what needs to be done. But it's also fucking harrowing, the idea of no more live music until the fall of 2021.
Now is the time for anyone who's in the creative arts to really invest in getting their stuff sorted at home.
Yeah.
Stupid as it sounds, right? I've been doing a good bit of research into getting a new microphone and bought that boom arm, so I just had a better improvement in looking at other audio cards and best ways to route it and blah blah blah. And at the moment, the used market is fucking wild. People asking more for interfaces second hand than they would go for brand new because they're not in stock.
Oh,
same as the same things happen with like Nintendo Switches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all about like the convenience of it.
Yeah.
There's people selling Nintendo Switches that are 280 quid new, something like that, for £400.
That's been that way since before COVID, though, because Nintendo are masters at undersupplying their consoles. Like, there are constantly, since the Switch has been out, there have been times where you've been unable to buy them in shops. So scalpers have been putting them on eBay for high prices.
See, I haven't seen that because I was looking at Switches for Nancy's birthday, which was just the other week. Before all this kicked off, like around at Christmas time and stuff as well. And it wasn't like the prices were inflated. I mean, they were stable. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not like you could buy one at 280 brand new or one second hand for 180.
Yeah.
They were still sitting at maybe 220, 230.
Yeah.
But you can expect that with a newer console, especially if they're in good condition, boxed, blah, 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 right? Yeah. But I'm not kidding, there's people selling them for 400 quid.
Yeah.
The Switch Lite going for 300 quid just because nowhere's open to sell them, even if they've got stock.
Yeah.
Curry's PC World's all shut. Argos is shut apart from deliveries, and they've only got certain stock, obviously.
Yeah.
It's mental. And microphones and stuff are the same, but it looks at interfaces, etc.
I've actually seen the opposite in, on the second-hand guitar market. Like, you can currently pick up deals, and it makes sense, right? Everyone out there right now, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have lost jobs, or they've been furloughed. They don't know what their financial situation is going to be like over the coming months, and therefore selling gear is a good way to make a little bit of money. But also at the same time, like, although I would argue it is very much a buyer's market right now for second-hand gear, at the same time, who wants to be spending loads of money on gear right now? Because again, who knows what your financial situation is going to be like in 6 months?
If you can get something super cheap, it might be a good investment.
Yeah.
But it would need to be super cheap. Like, you know me, I can't help myself but look over the second-hand market. I am the thriftiest bastard on the planet.
Yeah.
nearly got Nancy a good USB mic for 50 quid, but I just missed out on that. I'm just waiting to hear back in the next couple of days about buying a very nice amp for not a lot of money.
Making all those
Only-
smart financial decisions as usual.
Well, I sold my crank
Oh yeah,
and I had a wee bit left
Yeah.
over, and obviously I've been using that fly rig, the Rev and the Magnum and a couple other pedals, and it's tremendous. Like, I can't see past it, but the opportunity for this other thing came up, and I was like, right, no bother. And then the price was landed, and I was like, okay, I'm sure I can make allowances here.
yeah.
So again, I'll not reveal too much until it turns up, but
I'll blast through the rest of the story.
sorry.
No,
continue.
it's good. Dr. Zeke Emanuel made headlines earlier this week with his prediction that larger-scale gatherings like concerts and sporting events would not return until fall 2021 at the earliest, citing problems inherent with maintaining social distancing, etc., etc. Now the California governor, Gavin Newsom, has echoed these predictions, saying at a press conference briefing on Tuesday, April 14th, that large-scale gatherings like concerts won't be able to return until there's a vaccine and or herd immunity has been achieved.
Herd immunity is not going to be achieved. This is a highly contagious and high risk of mutation disease. It's fucking like, we don't have herd immunity for SARS, I don't believe. So why would we have it from a variant of SARS that's even worse in terms of unpredictability?
And we're also not going to get herd immunity if we're isolated, because the herd needs to actually catch a disease in order for you to build up an immunity to it. So I guess all we can do
It's
is
just not going to happen.
hope for a vaccine.
Soon.
We've talked vaccines on the show before, haven't we? So
And those questionable vaccines. I mean, it's just, that's another one that's funny to laugh about. Like,
yeah, well, we're currently sitting in a situation now where we can look at this whole thing and go, we are currently experiencing the struggles that happen in the world when there's just one vaccine that's missing. Just
it's mental, innit?
Yeah.
Here's a good laugh for you, right? Have you got anyone on your Facebook who is mental in terms of, not mental, sorry, but really buying into...
Oh, I've been
the,
deleting them en masse. Deleting them en masse.
I have one, and
Yeah.
I haven't deleted it because I find it hilarious, the things that are being posted, the madness that seems to be going, right?
Yeah.
I will not name the person, I will not say anything about them or any identifying scenario, but there is lots of mixed madness in this, right? Like, just, I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, I'm trying to find, they put a thing up about COVID-19 and about how it's Bill Gates.
Yeah, oh,
behind
yeah,
it. Right? So this is a Bill Gates quote that he shared.
Yeah.
The world has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion.
Yeah.
Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 to 15%. Why would healthcare and vaccines lower?
Oh no,
General
it does.
population?
It does. It does. So Bill Gates has talked about, and these insane people like to quote him on his depopulation idea, right? They'll call it his depopulation agenda. Bill Gates doesn't hide the fact that depopulation is something that he's pushing for, but it's not by fucking killing people. It's that when you look at African countries where families tend to have 8 children, the reason they have 8 children is because there's a fucking high probability that a lot of them won't fucking survive. If you can provide vaccines and lower and improve the general life quality that people in harsher parts of the world have to go through, and increase life expectancy and the likelihood that children are going to survive, guess what happens? Families tend to have less fucking children, so you end up depopulating. That's what happens. The population doesn't grow. The longer, if you go back to like medieval times, it was the same. It was the same here in I was going to say in England. We're not in England, but in Europe, right? Families were having tons and tons of children, and now you look at it, and we've lowered that to, when we were younger, obviously 2.4 children was the TV show, right? So that used to be the average population, but it's dropped lower than that now. I think it's about 2.1 children per couple. So we're now in a place where we are not producing more than, well, we're minorly producing more than we are as a species, but nowhere near as much as it was in fucking medieval times. That's what the depopulation thing is about, you absolute fucking cretins. Like, do some research. Stop sharing fucking Facebook posts. Also, spoilers, 5G doesn't cause COVID-19.
How did you know the next topic?
I know.
It's not just that, right? It's like linking those two is pure and utter lunacy. But
Do you know
even
what
people talking about 5G, like I don't understand radiology. I don't understand what's bad for cells and what's good for cells and what spectrums and wavelengths
Neither
you
do
need
these
to be
people.
on. But
Neither
5G
do these
is
people that they're
nothing.
talking about. Yeah.
I know, and that's my point. I'm not passing opinion on it because I am not an expert.
Yeah.
I don't understand radiology. I don't study it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't understand. I certainly don't have immediate knowledge, recallable knowledge of whereabouts on the spectrum these things fall.
Yeah.
Right. But my understanding is that 5G is pretty much the same as having fucking infrared.
Yeah.
It's
the people
almost
that,
the same spectrum. It has no effect on the human body.
the people that look at things like this, they go, the number is higher, therefore it's worse. But if you just take that to its logical extreme, well, okay, yeah, 5G is higher on the spectrum than 4G is, but you know what's considerably higher than that? Your fucking infrared remote that controls your television. Do you know what's even higher than that? The fucking light bulbs that I have above me right now.
No, it's even higher than that.
Go on.
The microwave that you use to cook your meals,
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
have used for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point I wanted to make a second ago was trying to say that 5G is either causing or at least spreading coronavirus. You know, two of the countries that have the highest infrastructure of 5G in place: South Korea and Japan. What's the COVID-19 rate over in South Korea and Japan? Well, actually, if you look at all the countries in the world, South Korea seem to be dealing with it better than anyone else.
Do you know why?
Well, they must have turned their 5G off. That's the only solution.
That's it. They got the notification first because they got the fastest internet.
Yeah.
5G coming, COVID, you're coming. No, it's because they were the hardest hit by SARS.
Okay.
As far as I know, their prime minister
Right.
used to be a I don't know the term for it, but essentially like an epidemiologist.
Okay, yep.
So when SARS hit them and hit them incredibly bad, they were super underprepared and they were like, that's never happening to us again. So they put some really serious provisions in place. Right. And it makes sense. Think about how many times you've heard X flu, pandemic, multiple deaths, blah, blah, blah. So they went, nah, we're not doing this again. We're going to look after our people. Yep. And see, when it happened, everybody took it serious. Everybody was in lockdown. PPE everywhere, proper isolation, supply chains were fortified. They just took it serious.
But did the government provide them tinfoil hats to protect them from the 5G? That might be it. That could be it.
No. South Korea own the internet. They just switched the router off.
Perfect sense. For anyone that still buys into ridiculous notions like that, I would recommend that you go and check out Stephen Woodford, Rationality Rules YouTube channel. Did a great video debunking it, pointing out that it's so easy to just find correlations of these things. Like, you just see a correlation between something and therefore you assume that that's a causation. But it's just not the case. He makes a wonderful point of how every single time there's been a ridiculous, like, scary level of pandemic, it seems to have been the exact same year that Avril Lavigne has toured. Like, that doesn't mean that Avril Lavigne causes fucking illnesses. Like,
maybe she does.
Stop being absolute idiots. You don't look back. You go, oh, okay, yeah, well 3G and 4G and 5G, there's all these correlations. But what about all of the other things? You try and make the thing that was like radio waves and things like that. But
I'm going to have to stop you.
Go on.
Right? Avril Lavigne, her first name has got 5 letters. And what's the silent letter in her surname?
Oh, shit.
G. 5G. It's a hidden message, bro. The Illuminati's letting us know.
Can't deal with these people, man.
Oh, no. It's the same as you see, like, photos, and it's like Bill Gates in 2015 did a TED talk, and he was talking about viruses. And then it's like, well, actually, the context is he was talking about how military spending is far more than it should be compared to what it is for in the case of healthcare or a pandemic or civilian provisions and healthcare provisions.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with him saying, here's what's going to happen. And it's the same fucking harpies that are saying things like, oh, COVID stands for Certification of Validation Identity. So COVID-19 is actually them implanting you with a chip so they can track you. That's you. And if you don't take the vaccine, then you won't be allowed access out your house. So you need to take it and just go and drink the Kool-Aid, you fucking nutjobs. Go.
And of all the people as well, Bill Gates, like, what is Bill Gates' end goal? Like, because there is a man right there that could have a lot more power in the world than he chooses to have. He could be by far the richest man in the world, but he's given away most of his fucking wealth. Like, he's given away 99% of what, I think that's right, 99% of all the money that he's made, or all the money he will make. He's giving that away to help people, and always has done that. Compare him to a fucking parasite like Jeff Bezos. Like, come on, Bill Gates, that you're telling me that's the world's end boss? Like,
it disappoints me that I order things from Amazon because I feel like my morals are being outweighed by the convenience of it, especially in this fucking pandemic. Because usually I would I'd make a conscious effort to order elsewhere.
Yeah.
But at the moment you're like, who's still delivering?
Yeah,
Amazon.
That's how they get you. Right, more guitar stuff. More guitar stuff.
Yes, sorry. You and I are just ranting about the world at the moment. It's great.
I know. We're going to talk about Kiesel. But
ranting about the world.
No, not in a negative way. Not in a negative way. So, Haken, Charlie Griffiths, has just uploaded a wonderful playthrough of Prosthetic. So I would recommend people head on over to Haken's YouTube channel and check out this wonderful video of Charlie blasting through that tune. And I like it because, I mean, yeah, he's giving the impression, they give the impression that it's an opportunity to do a playthrough of a tune. It's not, is it? It's just a showcase of all the unbelievably nice Kiesels that Charlie owns. Most notably, his current one is he has that beautiful pink 8-string with an Evertune, because Charlie gets it. 8 strings, Evertunes, those things, they go perfectly with each other.
They're hand in hand, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just a wonderful, wonderful combination. Having said that, I tagged him in it on Facebook and had to make fun of him because the guitar solo that he plays on the video, he's using the I'm not even sure of the name of the model, but the kind of X-shaped Kiesel, or the old Carvin X-shaped thing, and I was like,
the Tom Hess signature.
Exactly, that's exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. And then Charlie's like, "Thanks, man, you just ruined that guitar for me."
That's not fair, because that's not a Kiesel, that is a Carvin.
Yes, yeah, it's true, but Kiesel make them. So
I think the fucking someone from Judas Priest, was it Glenn Tipton played one?
I think KK played one.
Was it KK?
Yeah.
I knew one of them played one years ago. I'm pretty sure he plays one in the Painkiller video. An X. Anyway, doesn't matter. So that's a great playthrough, and that track's really good too.
Yeah,
speaking of cool tracks, sorry, you go.
I know what you're going to say, but I was just, you can say that in a second. I saw this and was like, this is great, I'm going to do a video of me transcribing this, and then I looked in the comment section and they've already posted full tabs for it. So oh, of course,
Nice.
you've done all my work for me, fantastic.
I'm maybe need to sit and learn it. I mean, I learned the intro riff because it's very easy to see what he's playing and play it.
Yeah.
But I might take a wee gander through it.
But go on, give us the album recommendation, or the track recommendation that I know you're about to drop on us, and then we'll go on to Kieselgate.
I was actually going to ask you, what did you think of the track? The track we're talking about at the moment, I've mentioned it before, or the band, at least, the Enigma Machine, Conor McGowan, who used to play in Zerath. They have their first single from that album out, and it's called The Neon Mirage, I believe. I don't have it on screen, so this is all by memory. But I've gave it a listen a few times, and I fucking love it, man. Especially the guitar tone.
I'm full on white power in it. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, on the note of that, like, we talk about the dog whistle, we've done this before, right? I make thumbnails for my YouTube videos all the time, and like when I'm doing a listening party and things like that, I make a collection of photos that I can use, which is like me in the corner with an album, like here, and it's usually me like going, or something like this. And when I'm doing it, like, an obvious thing for me to do if an album is excellent would be to go, you know, like that. And I've deliberately not done it because I know what's going to result in me doing that. Like,
you're literally kissing Hitler.
I know, yeah. The world we live in today. I thought it was a really cool track, yeah. But
I'm glad you liked it. I know that
Connor's
you liked the. When you go, sorry.
Of course, Connor's involved.
Of course, man. It's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Yeah. Guitar tone on it's something else, man.
Yeah.
But I know that you had liked the teaser I'd sent you before.
Yes.
But I think you were kind of like,
it was just that there was a very long intro before anything really happened to it.
Yep.
Which seemed, as I said at the time, was like a really odd way to launch and garner interest in the music that you're working on, if people have to stick with it for such a long time before they get to actually hear anything.
Well, I mean, I don't think that was so much an intro as in, like, you're not going to get that as part of the actual music, because it's obviously from one of the tracks.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I feel as if the Neon Mirage was a different animal. I'm really looking forward to hearing the album. So shout out to you, Connor, and the guys in the band. I think it's going to be pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah. Keep it up. Right. The main reason we're doing the show today, Kieselgate. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. Oh God,
there's not really anything else happening, is there?
There are a few, like, obviously we're going to make fun of Trapped, because Trapped's funny.
Oh.
And where's no, actually, tell you what, where's Scranton? Let's do that. Let's just briefly do that.
Yes.
Because this is absolutely hilarious. I am going to play a little supercut clip of this in the show. And this is taken from Catatonic Youth's Instagram page.
Tremendous.
Yeah, and it's so.
If you don't follow this page, go and follow it. Yeah. Any band you've seen or any performance you've seen that's terrible, they often have incredible supercuts of it. Even not of bad bands, just stuff that's so off the mainstream that you maybe would never have seen it. For example, a good friend of mine, Clay, is not on Facebook anymore. He comes on and off. Probably the most famous one-man porno grind, gore grind band you've ever heard, Cemetery Rapist. He's got one on there, and it's just a cut of him playing guitar, really chainsaw chuggy guitars, programmed drums playing through a laptop, and him making cricket noises.
All right.
Which is just the most obscene death metal vocal you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And he's the king of it. And it's like him doing bits of songs and stopping and it'll be like, and this one's a new one, and then it'll be just right back into almost exactly the same song. Brilliant. Sorry, right, so Catatonic Youths, follow it on Instagram. Fun.
Yeah, follow them. This video is a supercut of Wes Scranton, who is the singer of Puddle of Mud, famous for Blurry and also She Fucking Hates Me. I think we've now all learned why she fucking hated you, Wes. Doing an impression, and it's an impression of Kurt Cobain, isn't it? He didn't want to cover the song, he wanted to do an impression of Kurt Cobain, but it's not just an impression of Kurt Cobain, it's a parody impression. If you're trying to make fun, like do a caricature of someone, that's exactly what he's done here. I can see what he's going for with this, but he's just, if they tuned the guitars down a tone, maybe a tone and a half, I think actually he probably would have done an all right job of this, but it's right on the edge of what his vocal range is capable of. So are you ready to listen to this?
I absolutely am.
I am going to play this video now.
Oh my God.
I love the cut of this video. It's cut in a way that removes the beat as well.
That's so bad, isn't it?
You just have to feel sorry for his poor band. Cuts in on that rhythm guitar player there, and he's just sort of, and the bass player, like, what is going on?
The best bit's that real.
I don't understand how this happened. I do not get it. Did he think this was? Did he come off stage after this recording and go, "Oh, that did not go well," or did he go, "Fucking nailed it"?
He's like, I nailed that. I fully nailed that. That's what he's got in his head. Like, Kurt would be proud.
Yeah.
Courtney Love's coming out of the now to say thanks.
I think the most brutal comment I read on that one is, Jesus, I think this is what Kurt sounded like after the shotgun.
That was a joke I was going to make, and I thought that's maybe a bit much.
I know. No, you can't. You can hardly look at something like that and say, "Oh, well, that's too soon." Like, come on, it's been a while.
When you order Nirvana's MTV Unplugged on Wish.
Yeah. Fuck me. Like, just absolute. I almost feel bad playing those clips on the show because I feel like I've wasted everyone's time because I just refuse to believe that you haven't seen that yet. I'm just playing you things that you've already heard.
Levi,
go on.
Sorry to totally interrupt you, right? You're asking me about Jobby, right? About shit album covers, right? I clicked the Catatonic Youth's Instagram page there, just came out the video to go to the list of their videos.
Yep.
And second is Puddle of Mud. Fourth in that list, just down for you, is Gutalax Live.
Okay.
And I'm going to send you it because, just for anybody that's uninitiated, we'll just do a very quick one, right? Off the cuff of, we'll play this together, right? You got it loaded up?
I've got Okay. No, I got the album artwork you sent me. That was.
No, it should be.
Wish I
like a
didn't
sort
click
of-
that. Yeah. Okay.
Shitbag.
I've got the video. All right.
Right.
I am gonna play this now. I always have to say the same thing about this genre of music. I said the same thing the first time I saw Party Cannon. I just admire so much how into it everyone is.
This is Obscene Extreme Festival in the Czech Republic,
Right.
and it's probably the biggest European festival for this style of music. It's just 4 or 5 days of everybody on stage, crowd surfing, wearing silly clothes, drinking lots of beer, being ridiculous and having a great time. It's one festival at Party Cannon I've never played, and I would love to play. You'll get and I've
there.
played with Gutalax a few times. This band sell out festivals like this all the time.
I'm very
Look at that
familiar-
crowd.
I'm super familiar with those suits that they're wearing because we got some of those to paint my studio when I was painting my studio, and I put it on and then took one step and it immediately split.
Oh,
They feel like they're made out of toilet paper, those things, which is
Well,
fitting in this band. Right, that's me.
I just want to say shout out to Marty and the Gutalax boys because some of the nicest guys you've ever met. Ridiculous musicians. Not that you'd really know it for that stuff, but if you're into that kind of music, you'll really enjoy it. And I think it's fucking brilliant. I love it, man. I love them in general.
Right, Kieselgate, let's do it.
Okay, let's get away from the nice things.
I
and
know.
let's Head into uncharted territory.
It's-
Now, before we start this, right,
Go on.
I'm just going to let everybody know I'm not as clued up in this as you are.
Sure.
As I said to you yesterday when we were talking about this, this is not new to me. I understand companies have these problems and people have had run-ins with every brand you can think of.
Yes.
Every brand I know of, every brand, as big and as small as you want,
Yep.
there is at least one disgruntled customer.
Yep.
Whether they're in the right or the wrong, you always hear the horror stories.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
So-
And I think that's a really fair caveat to introduce.
Well,
Because-
just
Go
when
on.
you were talking about it on Discord, on that channel, where other people, by the way, Levi's got a Discord for anybody that doesn't know. The channel, there's a Guitar Souls channel, there's Rage Time channels, etc. I think there's a couple of Patreon only ones. Is
Yeah.
that right? Right. Anyway, but the Guitar Souls one is there for us to talk with you guys. If you've got any topics you want to have, for us to put topics in for you to talk with us about, and just generally as a kind of sounding board for if we're doing things right and if the topics suit
Yep.
everybody. And it's good. Anyway, they were talking about the Kiesel scenario. I'd imagine this is where you heard about it.
No. I am in the
Did you see it
Kiesel
already?
group on Facebook, right? And I
Okay.
saw the picture that someone posted, and I didn't really understand what it was I was looking at. I didn't understand
Yes.
what the issue was, and
Oh,
I had to read up on what the situation was. The more I read about it, the more I was just like, not just what a ridiculous. The situation here isn't about how ridiculous the situation is. It's about how the situation has been dealt with.
that's what's ridiculous about
Yeah.
it. You're right. At the end of the day, before we go any further, anyway, I wasn't super familiar with what was going on, but I've had a look into it from what you've shown me and the conversation we had, and exactly as you said, I don't want to be out either unfairly or unjustly defending Jeff or any brand for that matter. Hence my caveat before. Every
Yeah.
brand has a horror story from a customer, whether
Yeah.
it's a real customer or not, or whether it actually happened the way it did or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's fair to have that in mind, right? But the more you read into this, and the more I saw even your replies to people trying to be objective, because you know more or know quite a lot of what's
Sure.
happened and the context of how Jeff Kiesel has treated other customers in similar scenarios.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's going to be hard to really argue this from a neutral standpoint
Yeah.
because you can't really. Anyway,
Let me, because there are people that will be listening to this that are not sure what we're talking about. So
I was just going to
yeah.
say that. Please give context because I'm just rambling here.
On screen right now, you can see two guitars. There is an old Carvin and there is a brand new Kiesel. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Levi, those two necks look identical to me. And you know what? They are identical because in this particular image that you're currently looking at, I've actually superimposed the neck on the left over the one on the right. So they are actually identical necks. So sorry, I do appreciate that was probably a little bit unreasonable. Let me just switch it out for the actual neck that the guy got. Wow, looks almost the same to me. And I know what you're thinking. Levi, why is this an issue? Why does this matter? Right. this matters because the guitar on the left is a maple neck guitar. It is a maple neck guitar with a maple fretboard. The guitar on the right is not a maple neck guitar with a maple fretboard. It is a baked maple neck guitar with a baked maple fretboard. And when you look at the headstock on that guitar, it has that brown colour, and that's what baked maple looks like. The fretboard on that is not baked maple. I just refuse to believe that is baked maple. I simply refuse to believe that it's baked maple. And if it is baked maple, it is so poorly baked. We'll come on to why this is maybe a bigger issue than it needs to be in a second. But point is, this was delivered to a customer. Here is your baked maple neck with baked maple fretboard, and the customer wasn't happy with the product. He was not happy with what was delivered, so he raised the issue with customer services. Now, customer services with Kiesel have got a reputation, and Jeff in particular has a reputation for telling people that they're wrong, and you just need to learn to respect his art. And in this instance, they did exactly that. They were not willing to accept that there was any issue with this guitar. They were not willing to do anything about it for the customer. Essentially told him to sit and swivel. They told him that he could return the guitar for a $200 restocking fee if he wanted to do that, but essentially they weren't going to be doing anything to help him, which on its own is very much a private matter, as very much between the customer and the business type thing. It's no reason that we'd know about that, but then the guy wanted other people's opinions because he wanted to know if he was being out of line, what he was, unhappy with, and posted about it on Facebook. And the result of that has been multiple times now on Jeff Kiesel's live streams of Jeff Kiesel making fun of the guy, calling him a pussy, telling him he just needs to man up. And it's just so unbelievable. There's no better way to describe it than so unbelievably Jeff Kiesel. You know what I mean?
Again, look how light that is. Look how dark that is. They're both non-roasted, and then you put a roasted one in there. Oh, well, it doesn't look that much different than that one. Well, but it's still roasted. So, that's kind of the bottom line. So, evidently we got someone that's not happy with one of our roasted, and, it is what it is. We don't have the ability to control how dark they are. Come on, tree! Grow a darker piece of wood, damn it! If you're concerned about a roasted neck not being dark enough for you, don't order one. That's just how it goes. People can be really, really smart in life and maybe have great businesses and things like that, but maybe they don't have enough common sense. So again, this customer, I don't even know who he is. I've never heard the name before, but he doesn't like our answer, and it is what it is. We gave him the three options. I don't know that he liked the options. Option 1, keep the guitar and quit whining, which is preferable. Option 2, send it back, pay the restock fee, and have a rebuild done. Or number 3, we're going to refund you, we're going to part ways, we're never going to sell you another guitar again. Those are the 3 options. There's no option 4, hey, I'm going to have it my way because I'm the customer and I'm right. We're dealing with it, we're working, we're being men, and we're working, and we're making it happen.
It seems to be the same story over and over and over. Poor customer service, poor delivery to a customer, poor experience, and these people are still defending them. Just to give more context on what you're saying, the screenshots that I've got here, the first thing that this gentleman that's bought the guitar is saying is I own 20 plus Carvins, 9 Kiesels, I love the guitars, I'm really happy with everything I've had so far. No Kiesel bashing intended. I just don't want this to be... I just wanted other people's opinions on the issue I'm having, and to get their feedback and see what people would say. And it's just... bewildering that the company line is...
It seems absolutely ridiculous to me, because as a company owner, surely you just look at this situation and you say, no problem. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's no problem, is it? It's a tiny... Even if it was a financial burden on you, you're talking about somebody here that is claiming, I'm sure he can back this up, that he owns 20 Carvins and 9 Kiesels, right? You are talking about a loyal fucking customer here. And Kiesel's reputation survives on the fact that their customers are rabidly loyal. And I think actually the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I think that's a guitar scene thing in general. Musicians, guitar players are fucking cancerously rabid about protecting the brands that they play, and I don't fucking understand it. It makes no sense to me. It's the same with console or PC. Actually, yeah, PC versus console, but just Xbox versus PlayStation. It's unbelievable how tribal people get about the thing that they choose to use. And
See,
go on.
There's only one problem with that, right? Like, people fight between Xbox and PS4. That's fine, right? Or PlayStation and Xbox, Microsoft, right? They can piddle away, but the PC master race are above that. They're looking down on the peons, so it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
It's like a guy that owns a Golf arguing with somebody that owns an Astra.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're up here with the fucking Lamborghinis, looking down like, fucking behave.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you'll be really fucking ungrateful when the next generation of consoles comes out and suddenly developers have got reasons to make games that are better on PC because us console players that actually spend money on products can play them now. So you'll get a bunch more good games now thanks to us. Apart from obviously all the great exclusives that you don't get, but such is life. You wait a couple of years, maybe.
I would love to pay £500 for a piece of hardware that goes out of date within 2 months, and then have to pay £50 a time for the games, and then wait 2 hours while it loads onto the really terrible slow HDDs that they come inside, and then waiting system updates, and then worry about stability. Whereas I could just play my PC where I download the game directly from a market where I can refund it within 2 hours if I'm not happy with the game. I get much better deals. I can share games with other people. I can play online much easier. I don't have to pay for any season passes.
This would all work as an argument if before recording this podcast you didn't have to fuck around for almost half an hour because your PC wasn't working.
That's got nothing to do with games. That's because I borrowed an interface. Good try though.
That's how PCs work. Like you and I are constantly getting annoyed at our PCs because they do unexpected fucking things. They just do unexpected things. They're annoying.
It wouldn't be a big problem if Nancy hadn't stolen a good PC. I'm not blaming her. I'm not giving her a hard time, but that spent like £1,000 upgrading it in the last 6 months or whatever, and being like, this is running great. I'm really happy with it. And then I've got Nancy going, this is great. I can audio edit on this really quick. I'm like, that's because there's fucking 16 gig of 32 megahertz DDR4 RAM, a good processor, and a ridiculous video card and whatever else in there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually doing a new PC build soon, so we'll talk about that after the show. But you've illustrated.
Maybe you'll turn that one into a gaming PC. We never know.
Not a chance. You've illustrated my point really well. Like that's what people do. They get protective about the things that they're interested in, and nowhere is that more evident than in the Kiesel scene. Like the fans are really, really fucking rabid over them, and I just don't really understand it. I can take issue with some of the actually decisions that Patrice Vigier has made over the years. Right, I can take issue with some of the Myonet stuff. I can absolutely take issue with some of the Myonet stuff and the things that they'll offer and the things that they want to upcharge you for that shouldn't really be upcharged for because that's just the way that is. I can take issue, even though they're sponsors of the show, right? I can take issue with some of the lead times on delivery of products that Ormsby have had. It's okay, guys. You're allowed to love something but also say this can be better. We're allowed to fuck it, we're allowed to demand better because we are supposed to be the ones that are the things that keep businesses in business. We are the customers. The businesses don't exist without our support, but based on that you can support them blindly or you can say no, we deserve better. And you know what happens when you do that? You fucking get better. Companies out there, they want to do the best for you. When you tell a company you're unhappy with something, it's a minor inconvenience to the company. It can maybe hit their ego, maybe it hits Jeff's ego a little bit harder than most. But ultimately, when you give a company feedback and they can look at it and go, actually, you know what? The way you've been dealt with here isn't right. We need to improve this moving forward. Or the product that you've got is not as good as it could be. This needs to be improved moving forward. That's a good thing. That's absolutely a fucking good thing. So now we get to make fun of, because this entire situation, it began with Jeff Kiesel. It began wanting to laugh at Jeff Kiesel. But actually there's a bigger lolcow in this situation. And it illustrates the point perfectly. So it's Cody Terrell. You see any of his posts?
I've seen a couple of screenshots of these things, but see, because I'm not in, it was on the Gent shit posting page, wasn't it?
Yes.
That this was getting posted through. I saw snippets of it because you linked me to that page, and every thread was screenshots or copy pastas of what he'd said, more or less, right? And like, I am only assuming that he has more or less spent hours violently defending.
Violently trying to justify this scenario, and it becomes even more cringe than the original situation because you've got a kid here that is, I hate using Gen Z terms, right? but he's simping. He is turned into a simp. He's standing
Don't
for
say
Kiesel
that.
hard. I had to research what this term meant last night, so I'm not.
Look,
I'm hardly
s-
saying that as an expert. I'm still not
simp's
sure I'm
like-
using it
it's like-
correctly.
No, just don't use it. It's like it's the same as people saying things like, "Oh, you're a cuck."
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
I've got to be down with the kids, though, mate. That's the way that works. But I'm sure standing would be correct. Can I use that term here? Is it he's standing for Kiesel? Is that
We stand. You wouldn't say standing. You just say we stand.
right? Okay. So I'm not down with the kids. I'm not gonna pretend. Let me read this post for you. So this is from Cody, right? A man that doesn't work for Kiesel but clearly wishes he does. Let me run a scenario for you. You have two pieces of maple, one for a guitar neck, one for a fretboard. They look nearly identical. You painstakingly shape the neck, lay the truss rods in, and set the glue and press on the fretboard. You radius it. Sand it down to a nice smooth finish. Put the frets in, file and polish it down perfectly. Then you take that same neck and you put it in a vacuum sealed kiln at 360 degrees and let it bake. Timer goes off and you open it. Fuck me sideways, you fucking cunt. The fretboard piece of wood was a cut of sapwood that didn't change colour as much as the neck piece. And when you spent all that time and money getting the neck perfect, the neck is roasted and it has all the properties of normal roasted wood. It's not going to affect the piece of wood negatively by being about a shade or 20 lighter. But at this point, you could probably stain it or dye it, but you don't want to cheap out and hide it. You think it actually looks pretty good, so you throw it on the guitar and you ship it. Phone rings, you pick it up. A customer is screaming in your ear, complaining about a guitar. Well, okay, the neck was roasted, you did your job. The only problem is the colour. But you sold the guitar for cheap, and you'll have to make a new neck in order to resell it. That's going to cost you money. So you tell them that these things do happen and that you can give a return. Let's try that. Yeah, but you did spend good money to make the neck in the first place. So you say, sorry that you don't like the neck. We'll give you a refund, but it's going to cost you $135 to restock it as you agreed upon if you return this. Customer declines and slanders your name. Memes were made. Everyone on the internet becomes an instant luthier. You laugh at the pettiness of everyone and say, all right, whatever. Now, the reason this is supremely fucking funny is because at a later point, Cody then posted a picture of a leaflet about luthier, the art of luthiery, and tried to imply that he is a luthier. This is what he tried to tell people, okay? When you read that, it seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to say, but from speaking to actual luthiers, he's missed one key fucking point here. And I think that this is starting to settle in the mind of the Kiesel fans. That's not how it works, Cody. You don't build a neck, glue it all together, put the frets in, put it in a kiln and hope for the fucking best. The wood is baked before you cut it. The wood is baked before you shape it. The wood is baked and then you turn it into a neck. So in order for this guitar to have went out the way it went out, two pieces of maple were baked. Two pieces of maple were baked. Well, many pieces of maple were baked. And then whoever put that guitar together went over to their collection of baked maple and went, we'll take this bit and we'll take this bit. The woods were picked this way. This was not an accident. Everything you've said there is a fucking sham. And for you to pretend that you know luthiery is ridiculous because you clearly fucking don't. What happens when you put glue in a fucking 360 degree kiln? Like it's not going to go well for the instrument.
Just before you even get to that point, I'm sure the wood would have some movement in itself.
Yeah.
Some
Because it
change
expands and
of-
contracts.
Exactly right. So truss rod wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Glue on the fretboard wouldn't work. The frets. Why the fuck would you put metal frets in a kiln?
Yeah. Like, and he's done
Does
this.
Cody think you put the nut on, or the nut and the fucking truss rod cover on there as well, so they can melt?
I'll put the strings on
Guys,
there too, mate.
Just put the full guitar in.
Yeah,
fuck
just
it.
bake the whole fucking guitar. So
Know what we could do, right? We'll put the full body just in a pot of wax, but solid, and then let that kiln, because what that'll do is it'll wax pot all the electrics, keep them nice and quiet, and then just wipe the rest off.
Yeah.
Shut up, Cody, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. So I'm picking on Cody a little bit here because he has become a fucking meme with just how much he's fucking going to bat for Kiesel on this. But that's what I want people to take away from this. What I want you to take away from this entire situation is don't be fucking Cody, right? It is okay to look at a situation and go, this isn't acceptable. This isn't just about the quality of the guitar, right? This is about customer service. And the customer service on this was fucking way off base. Absolutely way off base. Making fun of your customers on your live streams, calling them names on your live streams is not fucking acceptable. Jeff Kiesel, mate, you look like the fucking embodiment of an Affliction t-shirt. You are in no fucking position, mate, to be ripping into your customers. Do fucking better by them. Let me just
Well,
read it. Go on.
Just on that, I was going to say I don't have any evidence of it, but I have read multiple times on that Gent shit posting page that during live streams, when Jeff was talking about the customer who wasn't happy, he was flexing his arms and tensing his arms and saying like it just needs to be a real man and man up and all these things. Like,
We're being men and we're working and we're making it happen. We're being men. Men.
I mean, nothing embodies a fragile male ego more than a man flexing on video talking about a disgruntled customer because he's worried that the company he's worked so hard to develop using his dad's work and tenure and all the equipment and the shapes and expertise, none of which he's built himself, to try and make out like this is his brand and he must develop it and look after it and whatever else. Like, the original shapes I've seen that Kiesel have done mostly derive from Carvin.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's bewildering that would be the attitude you would have.
Yeah.
Unless you've never ever worked or had any experience in customer service.
Yes.
I think, and I mean this is solely my opinion, not as fact, that Jeff's opinion of the company is warped in the sense that he's taken his father's company, done his own thing, although what he developed, he's changed it, done his own thing, found a fan base in what already were Carvin owners.
Yeah.
Done well with his PR, got a niche on certain types of music because, I mean, majority of guys that are playing Kiesel are probably into tech, metal stuff. And gained their trust and then just shat on the people that have had problems as if like, you're not an artist, you're not part of this affiliate program or whatever, you can just deal with it.
And that's the key detail, right? This only happened because this was a guitar for a customer. You can bet your fucking bottom dollar, you bet your bottom dollar that a Kiesel artist would never get a mismatched piece of wood like that.
I think we're speculating, but I don't think it's far off the mark.
Yeah. I don't want this to be a negative thing about Kiesel as a company, right? Or their guitars, because I've played many Kiesels and I've played some really fucking good ones. I've played some really good ones. In fact, I have friends that are high-profile artists for Kiesel. I'm not ripping into their fucking guitars and saying their guitars suck, because they absolutely don't. We talked about Charlie Griffiths just earlier in the show, right? Phenomenal player, has a lovely collection of Kiesel guitars. Jeff makes some really fucking nice guitars. It's not about the guitars, it's about what a company can turn you into as a person. So to go on with this Cody post, the one that really got me, the one that made me want to die of embarrassment for this fucking unbelievably off the mark child, is he responded to his post saying, shit posting or not, I take this kind of shit personally. And someone said, we noticed. And his response to that was, how would you react if someone was insulting your family, bro? Let's be honest. Mate, this is not your family. This is a business. This is a business that would shit on you in exchange for money given the opportunity. You mean absolutely fucking nothing to those people. Stop going to bat for them like this. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. You are embarrassing yourself.
The only question I think you would need to ask him at that point is, in comparison to the original poster with the problem, how many Kiesels and Carvins do you own, Cody?
Yeah.
What was that? You've got less than 30? Well, I think this man is allowed to have any comment he likes on the build quality and the customer service and the lack of respect he's getting in comparison.
Yeah.
Because he's proven he's a more valuable customer.
Yeah.
To Kiesel than you have, and Carvin than you have.
Yeah.
He has, if his claim's true, as I say, we've not seen the collection, but what reasons they got to lie?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not like he said, I've got all of these, fuck these guys. He came on and was super reasonable.
Yep.
I just want opinions, don't want anybody shitting on the company, just want to talk about my experience and what's happened. But he has a lot more vested interest and a lot more direct interest to Kiesel than this silly wee fanboy that maybe thinks I'll defend him on Gent shitpost, and Jeff will see that, send me a friend request, and maybe he'll send me some lithium pickups for free.
That's exactly what this is about, mate. Like, if he fights hard enough for the brand, maybe he'll be rewarded for it. And the only thing you've been rewarded here with, Cody, is the internet laughing at you because you've embarrassed yourself. You have absolutely, well and truly embarrassed yourself.
I think when you end up on gent shitposting, that's pretty much the end of any legitimacy you had, unless you've got like some sort of wild card failsafe that you can pull it and be like, fuck you guys, because they just rip you to the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they fucking do. So, yeah, silly one. And I think a lesson needs to be learned from this on Jeff's part as well, which is you are never beyond the ire of the internet. You are never, ever beyond criticism. And when you think you are, that's when you'll get hit the absolute hardest. I am
100%.
actually surprised that a lot of people, a lot of real hardcore Kiesel fans have openly come out and said, you know, I own six Kiesels, but I won't be ordering another one because this is unacceptable. Again, they're not saying this guitar that was sent out is unacceptable. It's the way you are treating your customers and how unapologetic you are about the way you're treating your justifications of why you're treating the customers the way you are is unacceptable. And when you have loyal customers that have bought multiple products from you, thousands of dollars of products from you, when they are waking up from their fucking, you know, console bias, if you like, the fanboyism to the console that they happen to choose, right? When they're waking up from that and actually going, I'm not buying your product anymore, you need to take a step back and go, maybe I fucked up here. Maybe I fucked up here, because you absolutely fucked up here.
I don't think you could say it any better than that. Like, yeah.
And for the record, I don't think that fretboard is baked. I think they fucked that up. I think they made a mistake, they shipped it out, and then they, rather than going, yeah, you're totally right, we fucked that up. Because saying we fucked that up means somebody put this guitar together and is either can't fucking read or is incompetent. Like, and the company doesn't want to do that, do they? So,
but I would rather a company, my personal opinion, I'd rather a company make, like, we fucked up, we'll make it right.
Yeah.
And make things right, because people look at that and go, cool, everybody's human. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
Something you don't always get it right. At least that way the company's showing they're committed to getting it right. Whether it's first time or second time, at least there is a level of value on your own like belief of quality control versus lol, get wrecked, do it yourself. Like,
yeah.
What?
I can kind of see why you might go that route, because of course there is going to be a large portion of the internet, ironically the gent shitposting community, that are going to see responses like that from a company and laugh their asses off at them and actually kind of respect the company for going that way. But I think if you go down that route and you think that is the majority of people, you think that's the best, the smartest move, you are going to find that you've made a terrible mistake. And I think Jeff's made a terrible mistake on this one.
I think he has valued loud and, I don't want to say stupid, but loud and not so serious voices on the internet over actual customers.
Yeah.
The people who buy your products are the ones that vote with the wallet. Voting with your wallet is the best way to show a company you're serious. And siding with people who potentially aren't customers. I don't imagine a lot of people on the gent shitposting page own many Kiesels, if any, versus a customer who is claiming and probably can back up that he owns at least 30 of your products is not a wise move.
Yeah. As a mega aside on this, it is kind of loosely related, but it's strictly related to Kiesel. This was drawn to my attention in my Discord server. Someone was talking about guitar competitions that they're working on at the moment, and other ones that they can enter. Now, I've been vocal on my thoughts on guitar competitions in the past. I'm not a fan of the idea, but you know, fine. If that's where you get enjoyment out of, you like having a focus, that's fine. Someone mentioned the Kiesel guitar competition, and they said that you should enter the Kiesel competition. And the kid turned around and said, I can't enter that one because I don't own a Kiesel. And I was like, what? You don't need to own a Kiesel in order to enter the Kiesel competition. Surely it's, you know, about promotion for the brand, and the prize will be a Kiesel. So it's a good opportunity for people that maybe can't afford a Kiesel to participate, become part of the community, maybe end up winning a Kiesel and win you over. No, I looked into it. You absolutely are not allowed to enter this contest unless you own a Kiesel. Like, fucking hell. That's really, really dumb. Really dumb. But, you know, such is life.
It's just a closed loop, isn't it? It's like Kiesel fans all in this big fucking circle. Nothing gets in, nothing comes out.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about another guitar brand, Fender. Do you see this news? What about Fender?
about not using ash anymore.
Yeah, Fender are going to stop producing ash guitar bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Climate change and ash tree pests cited as reasons. That's
Cost. Overall cost. Profit margins.
yeah. It's astonishing, absolutely astonishing.
Just because Fender don't shit on people like Gibson do, they're still one of the big two, and it's all about profit.
Yeah.
Let's just be realistic here.
Let me read this. Australian Fender dealer has revealed that the guitar maker is planning to phase out the use of ash for most of its instruments. We reached out to Fender, who have confirmed the plans. The reasons cited for the move are environmental, with climate change and destructive pests threatening ash stocks. The original source of the rumour came from Guitar Station, Fender dealer in Australia. From there, the story picked up the momentum on the TGP forum, which is the Telecaster Guitar Player forum, which is a great forum. And it was hotly debated there, as you'd expect, because ash and Telecasters are synonymous. Those two things, that is a desirable thing that people look for in Telecasters. They want ash tellies. So yeah, for Fender to just sort of look, I totally understand if climate change is a genuine issue. I understand if pests threatening ash stocks is a genuine issue, then fair enough. But that wouldn't mean that you'd stop using ash. Surely it would mean that you would either A, limit your use of ash, or you would look at ash and go, okay, well, based on the climate change issues and based on stocks of ash being depleted due to pests, ash is actually going to be a little bit more expensive now. So unfortunately, our ash models are going to be 10% more expensive or whatever. To just take your heritage like that and say, nah, we're just going to, no more ash. Sorry, no ash for you. It's like Gibson when they were doing the Bakelite fretboards, when they had all their mahogany stolen. At least they fucking tried. They would something that Kiesel couldn't do. They were dyeing the fretboards. They were using the Bakelite and then dyeing them so they looked like mahogany. I owned one of those. It was fine. It was absolutely fine.
I don't think that's very fair for you to say. It was obviously an executive decision. After they baked that full neck, fully assembled, tuners and all, they didn't want to stain the fretboard because they didn't want to mislead the customer and cheap out.
Oh, also, more importantly, it would be really fucking difficult to dye a fretboard that's already got frets on it after it's been baked.
True, aye. You don't want to discolour those fret markers.
Yeah, astonishing. Right. Why is this telling me my ad block's on? My ad block is not on. So we'll move on from that. We're going to talk about Ticketmaster before we head on to Trapped. So you must have seen the Ticketmaster story.
Will no longer refund postponed shows.
Yeah. This is terrifying, actually, when you think about it.
You want me to send you?
I've got it here, but when I'm trying to read it, it's telling me my ad blocker is on, and it's definitely not.
I'll read it. It's okay.
Yeah, go on.
So the headline is, this is for the 10th of April, Ticketmaster quietly changes its refund policy. TLDR, which is too long, didn't read. You're screwed. So, I mean, it's an unusual move for Ticketmaster. You know, they're always upholding the values of their customers, and integrity is number one for them, and obviously
looking out for your best interests. Yeah,
exactly. They always take some money off their profit margins so that they can give you the best quality of service you can get. User experience is 10 out of 10. Anyway, Ticketmaster is facing ample fan scrutiny and criticism after quietly changing its refund policy to exclusively cover cancelled events instead of those that have been postponed or rescheduled. It's hardly a secret the coronavirus, COVID-19, which is obviously Bill Gates' name for it, crisis has brought the live event industry to a screeching halt. Responding both to government mandates and health concerns, promoters have cancelled or delayed sporting events, concerts, and essentially all other audience-based entertainment functions. And predictably, a substantial number of would-be attendees are looking to receive refunds for the tickets they bought prior to the pandemic. In responding to this unprecedented cluster of repayment requests, I'm sick of that word, Ticketmaster has quietly changed its refund policy to cover only cancelled events, not the many functions that promoters have indefinitely postponed or rescheduled to a date time that some ticket holders cannot make. Now this to me is fucking scummy. But it just goes back to the last episode when you were talking about the log cabin. That is it's just greedy. I mean, I get that Ticketmaster and all these events and all the staff will have outlying costs they've already paid. Not my problem. I'm not the promoter.
Yes.
I'm not Ticketmaster. That needs to come out of your profit margins.
Yeah.
Not my money for something you haven't delivered.
And changing your terms of service is you would look at that and you would say, well, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you've now changed your terms of service, because those weren't the terms of service that you offered me when we entered into a contract with each other. But of course, shitty companies like this will have in their terms of service that they can change their terms of service, which,
Subject to change is the sentence you always read.
yeah, and I just don't know if that would stand up. Again, not a lawyer. There we go. The catchphrase happened. I just don't know if that would stand up in court. It just doesn't make sense to me that would stand up in court, because there has to be a line by which a sort of a measuring stick by how much you can change your terms of service. How much can you fundamentally change your terms of service before the contract is so far removed from what the customer signed up for that it's now no longer the contract that they signed up for? Like,
So
you couldn't put in your terms of service suddenly, when you attend the gig, you are now expected to pay your ticket fee again on the door. If you added that to the terms of service and said, well, you knew we could have changed our terms, that's never going to stand up in court, is it? Because
No.
it would be unreasonable. And to say to people who signed up going, okay, I'm gonna buy these tickets, and if for whatever reason you cancel my event or you postpone it indefinitely or you move it to a time that I can no longer attend, it's okay. I can get my money back because that was out of my control. If I decide to not go to an event, I don't expect a refund. That's my decision. That's me not breaching the contract, but that's me fucking people around. But when you are the people that are then fucking people around, you don't then get to go, it'd be really inconvenient if we had to refund you all. So we're just going to change the definition of when a refund is due. I just don't see this standing up. I don't see it.
No. Well, here's my two pieces of advice for anybody who's listening, that not necessarily this is going to affect at the moment, but for future reference. Number one, buy your tickets anywhere you can that isn't Ticketmaster or Live Nation. If you have any alternative that's even reasonably real, go with that. All right. Number two, book on a credit card.
Yeah.
Book on a credit card. Because the minute something goes fucky, to use the technical term, you can just go to your credit card and say, this company is fucking about.
Yep.
I would like a refund, please. And you can deal with them.
Yep.
And that's you.
Yep. And that is really fucking solid advice. And it's solid advice that I need to be more aware of. I have a credit card and I never, ever, ever fucking use it because I don't like the idea of like, if I've got money to spend on something, I'll spend the fucking money. Putting it on a credit card is stupid. But actually, no, I should be putting it on the credit card and then paying my credit card off immediately and knowing that it's given me that extra layer of protection. I should be.
Entirely. I mean, that's what you're paying your tiny amount of interest on if you don't have a balance on there. Yeah. That's the protection you get, and it's great. Even buying things, if you're making a considerable purchase, like electrical equipment or whatever, the overall benefit of doing that is immeasurable. Something goes wrong. If a company acts as if they don't want to fucking deal with you, you just go, cool, can you deal with us, please, Mr. Credit Card? And they go, there's your money back. We'll chase them.
Yeah.
Like,
that's one of the reasons that I use PayPal where possible. I'm actually going through that at the moment. I purchased a piece of software yesterday called Thumbnail Blaster or something like that. It was just advertised on my Facebook. I know.
Out of context, that sounds like a really weird product.
Yeah, I know.
The Thumbnail Blaster from JBL.
Yeah. And, as the name suggests, it's just a piece of software that helps you make thumbnails for YouTube videos. It was advertised on my Facebook, which is never a good way to find a product. But I clicked through to it and went, you know what? It's marked down to just £20 for a lifetime license. Give it a go. Give it a go. Why not? So I bought it, and then it did your typical click funnel thing, right? You've bought something, but now we want to try and add bolt-ons to your purchase, and then we want to try and upsell you to another version of a product. Cool. So it clicked me through to, went through the funnel to another version of the product. It took me through to a pro version of the product. And at this stage, I didn't realise that I didn't have a full version of the product. I didn't realise that it was a restricted version of the product. But I read up on the pro version of the product and I thought, okay, that's giving me more things. Interesting. Went to the bottom of the product page and there were two payment options. One was was a monthly payment cost, which was about $30, I think. You pay $30 a month. Okay. One of them was a lifetime access, and that was maybe $40 or something like that. So I looked at that and I went, well, hang on, how is the lifetime access less than the cost of 2 months of the actual thing, right? So I clicked on the lifetime access thing to get more information, right? When I clicked on that lifetime access button, it then took me to another funnel for another version of the product, right? And I'm like, well, I wanted to find out more about this pro version of the product. Literally, in clicking that, it charged me for it. Took me off to another page to try and sell me something else, and charged me for this product that I didn't fucking want. So I've emailed them. I'm like, guys, that's not acceptable. You can't do that. And they're like, oh well, rather than having a refund, would you like this additional piece of software for free? But no, motherfucker,
No.
I don't want your additional piece of software.
I didn't even want to buy your product, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, and they tried to
Refund
tell me that they've got no way that they can charge you money without your prior approval. And I'm like, I've walked them through this exact process. And I think when you use terms like ClickFunnels with websites like that, they immediately go, okay, maybe you work in this field, you know what you're talking about with stuff like this. Okay,
You're the kind of person who will get a refund no matter how long it takes to go down that route.
yeah. Worst case
This man is a
scenario,
dog with a bone.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just get it via PayPal. Anyway, so on the ticket thing, you mentioned Live Nation. You said don't purchase via Live Nation. But as a follow-up story to this, AEG and Live Nation have both reportedly put in a place or a plan to offer refunds for postponed shows. So both AEG presenters and their competitor, Live Nation Entertainment, seem to have learned a lesson from the current uproar over Ticketmaster's new refund policy, which, unlike in the past, only offers customers their money back on cancelled shows and not postponed or rescheduled shows. According to the New York Times, an AEG Presents internal memo suggests the company will open a third-party window for refunds on postponed shows starting on May the 1st. If a show for which one has purchased tickets hasn't yet been postponed, the 30-day window won't begin until such an announcement is made. So some people might be all right, but, you know,
The majority of people are going to get fucked over by this if they don't act quick.
still a shitty situation. Yeah, that's
Well,
exactly what it is.
I'm reading here that an angry customer's filed a class action lawsuit against StubHub for this.
Right.
Because they're opting to provide vouchers instead of cash refunds for tickets to events cancelled because of the coronavirus. So why would I want a voucher for an event that might never ever happen?
Yeah. A
And
lot
then,
of places
as you said,
do that.
might not suit you later on and whatever else. Like, it's just, I don't care how much in debt you are. You have my money and I want my money back.
Yeah.
That's your problem for mismanaging your end.
Yeah, I think that in scenarios like that, or at least dealing with our other holiday, which we booked via TUI, due in August, that's not been cancelled yet, but TUI have put up information saying that, you know, anybody that's holiday's been cancelled or you're due to fly before the 15th of May, you'll be being contacted shortly with a voucher for the value of your holiday, which you can then use to book another holiday, and then on a future booking you'll get 20% off the booking of the holiday, which is a nice incentive. Okay, what they don't include in that post but is included in the terms of service is that once you've got that voucher, you can then apply to have that voucher converted back into money and they will refund you. But of course companies like that want to make things as difficult as humanly possible for you, don't they?
I don't think it's so much as difficult. I don't think they're trying to put hurdles in place, but they're certainly not wanting to give out money where they don't need to.
Yeah.
And they'd rather make money on this than refund money on whatever.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, even if you're getting 20% off, if you booked a second holiday, they're 2 sales up compared to getting a refund on the 20% you're offering.
I'm not sure what you're saying there.
So you're saying that
So I've booked a holiday, right? We spent £2,000
Yes.
on a holiday. Let's say my holiday gets cancelled. They're going to give me a voucher for that £2,000, which I'll then be able to use to sort of rebook a holiday.
correct?
But then
and a further 20% off the next booking?
No, it's off the booking that I make.
Right, okay,
So it
sorry.
is-
I thought you meant it was like you
Yeah.
rebooked it and then for the second piece
No,
of
that
business
would
you'll
be
get the money off.
No, that would be really, really shitty. Well, I mean, I guess it would be a nice gesture, but it's not
Still a
a
gesture.
massive benefit. Yeah, like in the grand scheme of things, I would rather my holiday didn't get cancelled. When my wife saw that post from TUI, she was a little concerned, and I was like, "That's nothing to be concerned about because we do want to book a holiday." So, worst case scenario, our holiday gets cancelled. We get 20% off when we rebook. We can just get a nicer holiday, get a bigger, more expensive holiday, or go for longer, type thing. So, I guess what I'm kind of saying is people that are in this Ticketmaster situation or StubHub or anything where there is something in place, don't just complain for the sake of complaining. Like if you can get a voucher and there are other gigs that you want to book for, don't go, well, no, I want my money back and then I'm going to use my money to buy more tickets on your website. Like if that's the route you're going, you get your money back and don't use the money to buy more tickets on the website. But if you do plan on using the website for more tickets, just go, cool.
I know. It's just
You're just making your life difficult for no real reason, you know.
unfortunately, which kind of goes against what we've been talking about pretty much the full episode. There are people like that will take the path of most resistance and do the most awkward actions just because it suits them best to flex power.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the majority of people. I don't think that's not within your rights, but it's not being a great consumer in the same time that we're sitting here criticising businesses for how they treat businesses, other consumers and customers. It goes both ways. If you're a shitty customer, then you should be called out for that too.
Yeah. I think that in the long run, like, it just doesn't do you any service. Like, you and I can both be that person that really takes things as far as they possibly can with a company, even to the point where we know that we're not going to get anything out of it, but we just want to make it as inconvenient as possible for the other party because they've been an inconvenience to us.
I told you that about my credit card complaint. Yeah. They gave me the wrong credit limit information and that the money would be available and blah blah blah, and then tried to blame me and that the card never turned up and whatever else. And when I chased it up with them, they just went, "We've got no history of that call, so therefore we're not treating it as a serious complaint." And I was just like, cool, I'm going to take this as far as it goes with yourselves. I mean, exhaust the complaints process, but I'm going to take my time with it, so it takes up as much of your time as I can get.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to the Ombudsman. I'm going to keep going, and I know I'm not going to get anything out of it because you've made your point clear. We don't have to act. We don't have any evidence that says we've done anything wrong, and we don't care otherwise.
Yep.
So, right, cool, that's fine. I'm at least going to cost you money for your terrible, terrible customer service. See, on top of that, I should have taken it further. This is something I never ever spoke to you about. They actually closed my account with them and never told me. No communications whatsoever. So they were still collecting the money for the balance on the card, which is fair, right? Okay, I've got no problem with that. But they had basically cancelled the card.
Right.
And never told me. No communications whatsoever. So I called them to be like, great, cool, how much is left on that account and what's available, and do you want to look at the credit balance or whatever else, or what other offers have you got, just as you do when you're using like 0% cards. Yeah. And they went, oh, we don't have an account for you. And I'm like, well, why am I paying you money then? Oh, because you still owes debt, but you don't have an active account. I'm like, so you didn't even send me like a notice of termination or a close of account or end of relationship letter or anything like that, like, which is commonplace, and I think more than just courtesy, it's vital business information on that card. Like, I could have been stranded somewhere and this be the only credit card I've got with available funds, and something happens and I'm fucked because you haven't even let me know. Yeah. Oh, that's not a problem. And I was like, you know what? Clearly it isn't, because you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, that's the point. Like, I know you went to all of that effort with them in the past, and I guess kind of what I'm saying with the situation with Ticketmaster, like, where not necessarily that you can be a better customer. It's not being a better customer. It's just weighing up the energy that you're going to have to put in. And are you doing it for any reason other than to just make someone else's life difficult? Because I have to look at a situation like with the Ticketmaster situation where I'd just be like, okay, cool, yeah, that suits me, fine. Like, I could make my life really fucking annoying for the next 6 months while I just constantly remember, oh, I've got that. Like, I've got some of these to deal with now. Like, I'm dealing with, for my wife, I'm dealing with the ombudsman over her car insurance situation. And we don't have a printer in the house currently. So I've got this letter from the ombudsman that I need to print off and fill in and send back and sign and all of that stuff. But we can submit it digitally, so I'd need both a printer and a scanner, but I don't have those things. So what I've got is I've got the PDF. I'm going to convert the PDF to images. I'm then going to fill it all in using text on the document, sign it digitally, convert it from images back to a PDF, and then send all that off to them digitally. And it's like, that's a massive fucking ball ache. And in the grand scheme of things, this isn't one that I could just drop. But if you are just chasing something like this for the sake of it, think about your own fucking mental well-being.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you and I, as you say, are quite good at being the dog with the bone and just going for it, right? Like, if it's something that you feel passionately you need to make your point made, then fair enough. Like, go for it. But you're right, like, don't put yourself out doing this just for the sake of making a point. Like, fuck that. Like, it's just, it goes against what your point is. Your point is, I'm going to make this inconvenient for you. I don't want it to be inconvenient for me. The other option you've got, if this is any help to you, see when you convert these all to images, edit them on an iPad, and then you can handwrite on it. I was going to say get a graphics tablet, but you've already got something with a graphic screen. As long as you've got a stylus, sign everything away, and then much quicker than trying to put in text.
That's a smart point. Yeah, very wise, Mike.
Not even, not just, but not even
Yeah.
a good-looking face.
I know. I was going to use that as a nice segue, but I just want to. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. We were going to segue that onto Trapped, but I do have this one other story that I just want to laugh at, just for briefly for 10 seconds. Kanye West takes to beeping at his friends, calling words the lowest form of communication. What? What? So he's featured in GQ, right? And here's the quote. I think words are one of our lowest forms of communication. West begins in a new GQ cover story. Music, sound, food, dancing, and non-verbal forms of communication. We get so wrapped up into words. We got to make things that are speechless. We have to make things that leave people speechless. We have to make things to the level where no one can say anything.
No, what's great about that? He used words to communicate that.
I know, yeah.
It was really good that he showed us how you can communicate further than words and how it's better and more expressive to not use words by using words.
I know, yeah.
Go on yourself, Kanye. As usual, you're a fucking bastion of hope.
Yeah, he didn't choose to communicate those thoughts via dance to the GQ journalist.
It would have been tremendous if, like, at the bottom it was like, also, Kanye never spoke in this interview. This was all done telekinetically.
Yeah. It goes on to say there's also an issue of West calling music a non-verbal form of communication, which seems to discount a wide swath of musical professionals, including singers, songwriters, and rappers, all of whom tend to use words.
Like him?
Yeah, exactly. From there, West reveals that he's been replacing human sounds with beeps. The greatest freedom is to challenge the vernacular, West continued, or add something to the vernacular. I saw Alex designer and former Donda member Matt Williams in a hotel lobby in the Mercer a few weeks ago. Right when I saw him, I started communicating in like beep sounds, like the beginning of a Bobby Digital song. Like what the fuck is wrong with this man? You're a rapper. You are a rapper, sir. I can assure you, you do not have enough musical talent to be able to be as popular as you are without the words that you fucking use.
Here, right, we're talking about people being rabid fans. Kanye's the perfect example of that. He has begged on the internet. He's made stupid decisions. He's released $4,000 blank white t-shirts.
He's a gay fish.
He is a gay fish. He loves fish sticks. And people still defend him. People are still like rooting for him and behind him as if like he's a genius. He's so smart. He's not. He's a fucking bumbling moron. That, credit where credit's due, has got some good music, can be really good at rapping, and just is quite a good wordsmith. But all of that aside, he is a chin-dribbling fuck nugget.
But the most important thing you said there is Kanye is in the position that he is in is because he is a good wordsmith.
Correct, and that's my point. Like, I better go and communicate how I feel about how words are pointless by saying these things to a journalist so he can write them down and put them on the internet where people can read and or listen to them.
Yeah.
What? Are you fucking listening to yourself, you fucking dick?
Yeah, it's just, I fucking hate people like that, where they think so fucking highly of themselves that they think that they can be the revolution in terms of the way people think about things. So he genuinely... does he genuinely think that he wants to change the world with an idea like that? Or does he just want something that he knows is going to get reported? I think he's smart enough to know that if he says something stupid like that, more outlets are going to cover the story. More people are going to be talking about Kanye. We're currently sat here talking about Kanye. He doesn't care what anyone thinks because he's smart enough to know that all that matters is not the fact that people think negatively of you, but that people think of you, full stop.
He's rich enough to not care.
Yes.
Not even smart enough. He's rich enough to not care. Because at the end of the day, exactly as you put it, exposure's there. Do you know what I mean?
And that's how we segue. That is how we segue into Trapped.
Yes.
So speaking of somebody that thinks or understands the idea that people talking about you is the most important thing that exists, because the more people that are talking about you, the more relevant you are. And that is, to a degree, true with Kanye West, because he is absolutely a relevant force on the modern popular music scene. Fair? Do you know who isn't a relevant force in modern music? I can't even remember his fucking name, which is ridiculous because I've been reading his stuff for what's his motherfucking name?
Well, look, just as it while
Chris
you're thinking
Taylor
about
Brown. Chris Taylor Brown.
While you're thinking about that, right? Can I share with you the best cover of Trapped I've ever heard?
I mean, you can't because I've got no way to play it over the stream. I've got no way to...
But you and I can listen to it and we can talk about it the same way as we've done with the last videos, the Catatonic Youths, all right?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't get straight for this because obviously it's a cover, but it's not the full song. I seen this the other day and I really enjoyed it. I wonder if you'll be into it. I don't think the guys for Trapped will enjoy it very much, but that's the best part about it.
Right, so I'm gonna stop you there. This is literally part of the story that we're talking about.
Have you seen this video?
Yeah, I've seen this video.
Right, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue then. I apologise.
This is literally in the story. Because what it comes down, I don't actually even know why people started making fun of Trapped. Or
No one did. They just popped off on fucking Twitter or Instagram, I think it was.
well, we certainly talked about them a good few months ago because evidently Chris Taylor Brown is like militant conservative, like get those brown people out of my country conservative. Not
Did they not start? Was their official pages not sharing lots of like pro-Trump madness, and that's when it all started?
Yeah, he's made a lot of hashtag MAGA posts, but really the one that was the kick in the teeth was when he was suggesting that congresswoman needed to be thrown out of the country because she's a Muslim.
I just
So he
why are these people allowed guns? Why?
Well, so you can deal with people like Chris Taylor Brown.
But the point is he's armed.
Yeah. Not of any sense though. So
Exactly, and that's my point. These people are allowed to own weapons.
Yeah.
Why?
So
Can we just take a wee minute to congratulate America that for the first time in 18 years there's been a full month, a march without a school shooting.
amazing.
I mean, if that doesn't open your eyes as to what the problem might be, I don't know what would. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anyone that lives there, or certainly any victims or family members or people affected by these things. But I don't think, as a whole, the country really takes it that serious.
No, because it's very difficult to take things seriously when your only experience with them is seeing them on the news.
To a degree, I think it's the ingrained gut feeling that in order to be actually American, you must own weapons. That's part of our rights, bruh.
Well, I think I relate to that. I understand that. Rights are there to be used, surely. Like, if you've got rights, take advantage of them because you currently have those rights, and who knows when you don't have those rights.
Correct, right? But surely with that then, any form of critical rationale would be, cool, what do these rights actually secure us? What is the positive and the negative effect of these rights? And studying 10 years as just a sample history, because obviously things move on very quickly. You never know the short-term and long-term effects until you look at it with a good sample size. Yeah. 10 years. Tell me what good guns have done citizens in America over 10 years. The last 20 years. The last 30 years. It's nothing. There's no quantifiable research that I can think of. Saying that, I don't have the research in front of me.
Yeah, sure.
Or any examples that come to head that are like, I'm so glad that person had a gun.
Well, I don't think that's strictly fair, because I think the peace of mind of feeling confident that because you are armed, that a representative of the government isn't going to come onto your property and take your property from you. A representative of the government isn't going to come onto your property actually in the situation we're currently in, isn't going to come to your property, see that you're outside of it, and tell you to get back inside of your property.
Well, let's just take a wee step back, right? Because let's say, I don't know how many people in America own guns, right? Or the citizens.
A lot.
Regardless, of course, right? Do all of them have access to fighter jets, remote drones, bombs, long-range weapons, special training, armour,
it just doesn't
military
matter.
Equipment?
It still doesn't matter, because
it does.
Because what you're saying there then is that because you are outgunned by someone else, you should just lie down. You should just lie down and take it. You're never going to be able to stand up to the government. Therefore, you should just lie down, because you're right. You can't none of these people do have those things, but in their mind, they have that peace of mind that if one man from the government comes onto my property and tells me that he is taking it from me for whatever reason, that I can do my best, even at the cost of my life, to stop him from doing that. And that is fundamentally what that what that constitutional right is supposed to give you. That's what that's supposed to grant you, isn't it? That peace of mind that it can. Now, we could argue all day about whether or not that's a peace of mind that you'd need, because I would argue that's a peace of mind that you probably don't need. I don't think the government is going to come onto your property and take things from you.
Especially when you're talking about this amendment, this right you have, having been written when people had muskets and civil wars.
But who knows? We might be heading in that direction again.
We might be, but what's going to happen is you're going to have a militant group who are going to take over an area, and that's going to get bulldozed so quickly without any effort by the military-industrial complex.
Yes.
Simple as that. And I'm not defending that. What I'm saying is your reasons are the apparent reasons to someone who doesn't own guns, who is in a country that, generally speaking, weapon ownership is very low, if not completely illegal, or the most part illegal, if it actually happens much. Doesn't make sense to me. I see no understanding as to why you would think you can stand up to something of that size or that strength. Whether you think one man making a difference and standing his ground and being a real patriot, yeehaw, is going to make a difference or not, you're going to get run over by a tank. Somebody's going to turn up in an Abrams and just go, cool, that's that dealt with.
One of my recommendations for anyone that's currently sat in quarantine is get on Netflix and watch Homeland, because I think it's one of the great TV shows.
That first season is fucking unbelievable, man.
How much of it have you watched?
I've only watched the first 2 seasons.
Oh, dude, it just keeps getting. It turns into a totally different show, but it just keeps getting fucking better and better.
Really?
I'd not seen it.
I wanted to keep
in
watching
years.
it, but I never did.
I kept up with it until I think maybe season 5. And I saw on Netflix that they've got up to season 7 on there now. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been going back through and catching up on that. And in season 7, season 6 and 7 sort of run on from each other. There's a very obviously Alex Jones character. There's a very obvious, talks like Alex Jones, has a radio show, talks about the government on the radio show, etc., etc. He ends up becoming like a warrant for his arrest type thing. He ends up going to lock himself away as part of a community of people that have these kind of protection from the government type views, and it's really fucking interesting to see them in this. They end up in a standoff with the CIA, where they are essentially just trying to defend their property, and they know that they aren't going to get what they want. They know that, but there's still this. It's a really interesting thing, because the Alex Jones character, you can see that he's changing his mind about the situation that he's in, and that actually, like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're not going to get what we want out of this situation. But he's now the one that's lost power. It's everyone else in the group has taken over and running with the whole, we're fucking armed and we're going to protect our property type thing. It's very, very, very interesting. Great TV show, though. Really, really good TV show. Keep with it. Very, very good.
I'll go back to it. That sounds good.
Yeah, because the first 3 or 4 seasons are all very much, those Muslim terrorists type thing.
But the first season, I like the ambiguity in it.
Yes.
And I like especially the ugly crying.
That ambiguity goes for
Claire Danes' beautiful face.
Yeah.
That
ambiguity with Brody goes for 3 seasons, which is really fucking cool. But as the show goes on, it becomes less about those Muslim terrorists, and it becomes a lot more about those Russians trying to interfere with our government thing. Not that I take issue with the Muslim fundamentalist terrorism plot lines in what would you call a show like that? Spy type shows. Domestic defense. I don't know how you'd call that. What you'd call that type of show?
I'd say it's spy. It kind of comes on that, doesn't it? Like an espionage thriller.
Yeah. While like the fundamentalist things are really interesting in a show like that, they're also really fucking played out, and you see them all the time. So to go back to the old American big bad of the Russian enemy, the Russian influence, it's nice to. But that's also fucking cliched, to be fair. But anything that's a change from what I'm used to fucking seeing is nice. So yeah, Homeland. Anyway, I really do want to finish this. Chris Taylor Brown. I don't know why it became funny to start poking fun at him. I think what it really comes down to is, I think we all know he is everything Mike's talked about there. He is the gun-toting lunatic. He is the the proud patriot type person, right? But you can
all the gear and no idea.
Yeah. You can also see how unbelievably fragile his masculinity is, because what he loves to fall back on when he's arguing with people on Twitter is his stream numbers, right? He loves drawing attention to, well, look how many fucking streams we get on Pandora. Dude, nobody cares about fucking Pandora. Trapped, right? We know that they had a hit single. They did have a hit single like 20 fucking years ago. Can you think of another Trapped song?
No, and what's better than that is, right, if you listen to this cover, right, this cover's better than the original. Like, the original song, everything about it's terrible.
Yep.
It is, like, the only part of it that has any redemption in terms of actually having a hook or sounding good is the middle of the chorus. And the rest of the song is not good. I mean, it was a product of its time, fair enough.
Yeah, totally.
It fits a niche. It's that kind of all grunge, new metal, somewhere in there, early 90s radio, or late 90s American radio, early 2000s, competing with like Hoobastank and all these bands.
Yeah.
Right? It fits in there, right? But
Let's not pretend that there was anything revolutionary about it. And I desperately want to reach out to Chris Taylor Brown and go, dude, like, I get it.
think he'll come on?
No, not a chance.
Oh,
Can try though.
but think about how many streams we could get
I know, good point. Yeah,
on Pandora.
yeah. I think it must be hard for him because deep down inside, he knows he was a one-hit wonder. He knows it, and he knows that the only reason people still stream his music is to either relive being 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody unironically listens to Trapped anymore, right? Or the other reason he'll get streams is because people are talking about him in this scenario, right? Everyone goes, "Oh, Trapped, yeah, I remember they had that song Headstrong," and then they go to Spotify to remember what it sounds like. Looks and listens like. What am I talking about? They remember what it sounds like. I have gone out of my way to make sure that I don't do that, and it really annoys me because I would really like to stream that song just because I can remember the hook in the chorus, but I don't want to play into his game of giving him one extra stream. And to be fair, it's actually really fucking embarrassing what he does with it because he brags about streams like he's right about it. Like his way of taking down a band is let's have a look. Even on Pandora, they wouldn't even reach half the streams. But I would love Chris Taylor Brown to prove me wrong, pulling up the statistics that he claims to have. This is in reference to Bring Me the Horizon. So, you know, Chris Taylor Brown is bagging on Bring Me the Horizon, saying that they're garbage and no one listens to them.
I mean, they are garbage, but they sell out fucking stadiums.
Yeah. So Chris Taylor Brown then posts pictures of Pandora stats for Bring Me the Horizon and for Trapped. So Bring Me the Horizon are 497,000 listens and Trapped are 2.4 million listens. That's a lot. But Pandora is tracking, you know, total streams over all time. Someone then responded to him and said, your numbers, 2.4 million plus 1.8 million on Spotify equals 4.2 million. Then we have Bring Me the Horizon's number, 4.3 million listens on Spotify alone. So just Spotify alone, they're more popular than you. More popular than you. Like, how can you? Even if it was even if you were right, you know, even if you do have more streams than Bring Me the Horizon, how can you think that any of this matters? How can you think that that's a way to shut people down? Like sometimes I do all right selling books, but when I'm arguing with people about something, I don't feel the need to turn around and say, not only are you wrong, but I sell more books than you do. Like that would be a ridiculous thing to say. It's just, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't give you any clout whatsoever, you absolute clown.
He's the type of guy that would sit in his house, write things on Facebook, and when he gets a reply, just write "you mad, bro."
Yes. Yeah.
That's the level of debate you're going to get.
Yeah, he's another embodiment of the Affliction t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yes, very. I mean, no, he's a fucking. What's the horrible fucking MMA one? What is it? Tap out.
Yes,
he's a tap out t-shirt. That's what he is.
Yeah, never goes anywhere without a can of Monster in his hand.
Just you've not got this up on your screen, but see the starting thumbnail of that video I sent you.
Yep.
The vocal cover, right? Look, his t-shirt. That's too wee for you, mate. Come on. It's also somewhat of a jumper, a t-shirt, and a tactical fucking body. I mean, what is that?
Ready to stand up against the government. Now, the reason we had to talk about him is because
he's a gimp.
Well, he is a gimp. Yeah. He has been responding to guitar players that have been calling him out on YouTube. Right.
Tremendous.
And most notably was Jason Richardson challenging Chris Taylor Brown to a shred off or whatever, a guitar battle, right? And Chris Taylor Brown responded to him going, I absolutely guarantee that I can play anything that you can play. Anything that you can play, and I bet I can show you a thing or two as well.
That's fucking silly.
Jason Richardson. I'm not a fan of Jason Richardson, either the person or his music, right? But let's not pretend that he's anything other than extremely musically gifted. I hate the word gifted because it implies that he hasn't put a fuck ton of work into things as well. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, Chris Taylor Brown. You cannot even begin to comprehend keeping up with Jason Richardson.
On top of that, they started targeting, I don't know if it was Mark that started it or if they started it, but Mark Okubo from fucking, or Okubo, sorry.
Yeah.
Vela Maya.
Yes.
He is an incredible player.
Yeah.
And then they were shooting back and forth with him as well. Like,
yeah, and
what level of delusion do you live on to think that two very well noted, and I'm not going to say the best or top of their game, but incredibly good guitarists who have released music that would shit on Headstrong or potentially any other single that no one's ever heard from Trapped in the first couple of seconds. What
and they're
delusion do you live
also
on to think I'm bigger than you?
they're
Not.
also selling more records than Trapped. They're selling more tickets to shows than Trapped. And that when you put it like that, it kind of makes me take a step back and actually feel a lot of sympathy for Chris Taylor Brown. You know what I mean? Like, he's having to face up to this fact that not only is he a one-hit wonder and his career is pretty much done, he's living on the successes that he had 20 years ago. He'll never be anything, and now the internet is laughing at him. And when people are laughing at you, as with, was it Cody, the guy that we were laughing at earlier? When people are laughing at you, it's kind of the first thing that you'll do is turn around and go, I don't give a shit what you think, right? But guess what? The person that says, I don't give a shit what you think, is the person that gives a shit more than anyone else. I get it on my YouTube all the fucking time. The amount of people that comment on my thing and go like, I don't care about you and your opinions on things. And it's like, well, why are you watching my videos then? Why are you responding to the comments on them? Clearly you fucking care. And then they'll respond to that. Like literally, you can bait these people into responding 10, 20 times to you. And every single time you just point out, I thought you didn't care. I mean, for someone that doesn't care, you seem to care a real lot what I think. You seem to care a real lot what I'm saying to you here.
Why are you mad, bro?
Yeah, exactly. What are you mad for, bro? Absolutely hilarious. So, Chris Taylor Brown, you're an absolute clown, and I hope that people continue to laugh at you and about you for many, many years to come. If you are a guitar player, if you're anybody, I would recommend that you go and maybe troll Chris Taylor Brown on Twitter a little bit, because don't threaten the guy. He's issued his fair share of threats. Actually, Sumerian Records. Did you see his threats to Sumerian Records?
I didn't see the threats. But
bragging about the fact that he's
more.
armed and that he's going to find you. He'll hunt you all down. He's going to find you.
He's headstrong. He'll take on anyone.
Yeah, this motherfucker will literally take on absolutely anyone. It's unbelievable. So if you do have the opportunity, I would recommend that you head on over to his Twitter and maybe poke the bear a little bit, have a little bit of fun, because
I'm just doing it right now. It'll be 2 seconds and you can see what I'm doing.
Same principle. Like, I just feel sorry for the rest of his band. It's Wes Scranton all over again. Like, these guys must just be like... The worst thing with it is Chris Taylor Brown doesn't operate his own Twitter account. He doesn't have a Chris Taylor Brown Twitter account. All of this he does from the Trapped official Twitter account. So
I know that's what catches everybody's attention. Like, why is this band trying to fight people?
Yeah, it's just not. It's not a band, is it? It's yeah, that's actually, but maybe that's what you should be doing. Maybe we should find out who the rest of the members of Trapped are. Spoilers, no one knows, no one cares. Maybe we should find out who they are, reach out to all of them and say, just how do you feel about Chris Taylor Brown's behaviour here? Is he representative of your views? Because he seems to be spewing them out from Trapped. Is this how you feel as a member of Trapped? Let's put the pressure on Chris Taylor Brown. Right, have you got something for me?
I'm just going to send you something. No, I'm not. Because wait. I was making a meme, but Paint 3D is fucking terrible, apparently.
Good. It doesn't matter. Right, ready for the click? Big thank you to Ormsby. This show has been brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. If you are unfamiliar with Ormsby and what they do, I would recommend you head on over to ormsbyguitars.com. Absolutely wonderful instruments made out of Australia by Perry Ormsby. You know, they focus on a lot of really interesting things, probably most notably the multi-scale thing. You can see a couple of them hanging behind my head. I am a big fan of the Goliath series. Having said that, I've also almost ordered myself a Hype over the years, and I think the thing that Ormsby do that, well, lots of companies have dabbled in, but they do a great job of it, is these runs of builds. You can go on their website now, check out the pre-order section of their website, and you will see a series of upcoming runs of guitar. You can get in on those with prepayment plans and really get yourself a nice, well-built instrument for an unbelievable price. So thanks to Ormsby Guitars for supporting the show. Go and check them out and let them know that we sent you. Thanks very much. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the end of another Guitar Soul show. I know it hasn't even been 2 weeks, but we're home alone and bored, so who knows? We may be back in 2 weeks. We may be back sooner. We'll see what happens. If things happen that are worth talking about, we'll probably talk about them, because that's fun.
That's part of the fun, exactly. And anyone who wants to join Levi's Discord, join the Guitar Souls channel and give us some content for us to talk about, get us in here a bit earlier, sign up. I'm sure leave a link in the description.
That is actually a really good point. The more stories we have, the more things that are there to talk about, the more often we do shows. Because the worst thing is if you're doing a show every 2 weeks and then you get to that 2 week thing and you're having to filter through 40 stories and you go, well, we can't possibly cover all of them. So you're having to cut stories that are genuinely quite good stories, but they're also 2 weeks old. So let us know when you have stories that are worth reporting on. We really do appreciate it. Also want to say a big thank you again, obviously, to Ormsby Guitars for your love, kindness, generosity and support. Love you guys, and please do check them out over on their Reverb store. Do not buy the lovely guitar that I want, because I want it, but
which is which one?
What is the pink and blue swell, that white with a pink blue?
Yes. Oh, just did you see the Predator Blood one?
Yeah.
That is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And did you see the one-off shark that Perry had painted?
Yep.
The purpley blue.
Yeah.
Baby. Anyway.
Some lovely instruments. I was going to say the last thing I need right now in my life is more guitars. I do need more guitars. You know what? I've found myself in the shittiest position in my life, which is I've never had a guitar refretted. Never had a guitar refretted, or even had frets dressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in a situation where 4 of my guitars need refrets. 4 need either refrets or crowning, leveling, need some love and attention. And
some magic.
So I'm going to finally have to pull my finger out and actually get something done about it. So if this quarantine could end so I could go and give my guitars to probably Alan Forsyth, Alan will take care of it.
Alan's good. Alan is good. Alan's done the setups on my guitars the last couple of times. Before him was B-Tam Stevenson, who is a wizard, an absolute wizard. So shout out to the two of them.
Yep.
Support your local luthiers trips.
Yep. Support local communities. Right. So any closing thoughts, Mike?
Just the same as usual. Thanks very much for listening to us talk shit and ramble. I'm glad you've got to meet Finlay. He's probably the saving grace of this fucking quarantine for me. For those of you who are not into children, fair enough. That makes it sound really, really weird. But
Mike, maps have rights too.
Don't use the term map. Please don't.
I'm learning.
Person.
I'm learning. I used maps. I used simps. I used I mentioned stanning. Like, I'm learning. I'm learning about all these things that all the kids talk about.
Just stop it. See if you end up with a TikTok account, I'm going to firebomb your house.
Oh, I can assure you that won't be happening.
I will. I get a week.
No, because I'm very vocal about how anti-LGBT TikTok have been in the past, and been vocal about the fact that
is this real?
They censored a shit ton of LGBT and disabled people content because they deemed LGBT content and anyone that was disabled to be more likely to generate harassment, so they kind of moderated all their content away, so people were seeing considerably less of it. I think there's it's not a coincidence that TikTok is a Chinese company. It's a Chinese run app, and they're not fans of that type of thing over there either. So I don't like the idea of being supportive of TikTok. Also, just in general, my understanding of TikTok is an entire system which relies on copyright infringement in order to function. Take someone else's content,
it's just shit.
Mime over the top of it,
it's shit.
Repost it. You have no legal right to repost that content. You've not done anything to the original content. You've just performed visually, but you do not have the rights to the audio. I don't understand how this is a thing.
It's a product of Vine being funny. TikTok was the successor of Vine, despite not being the same thing and being filled with the same morons. Jake and Logan Paul were both Viners. Enough said. You know what I mean? How these people become successful and have money and somehow run these his latest scams, very interesting, but that's another topic. Fuck these people. Simple as that. So my part message is probably like, share, subscribe. Thanks everybody for listening. Any content you want us to see, please fire us a wee message, leave a comment on here, leave a comment on SoundCloud, join the Discord, and otherwise, be safe, be smart, and fuck the Tories.
And until next time.
Bye, fuckers.